This article will consist of 6 chapters, each delving into different aspects of the core message. Chapter 1. The Genesis of Discomfort explores the initial need for self-transformation and the inherent pain involved. Chapter 2, Dismantling the Old, focuses on the active process of deconstructing outdated beliefs and habits. Chapter 3, Navigating the Void, examines the period of uncertainty and vulnerability after the initial break. Chapter 4, Forging the New Self, details the rebuilding process, emphasizing conscious choices and self-creation. Chapter 5, Embracing Resilience, analyzes the importance of strength and adaptability in the face of adversity during transformation. Chapter 6, The Legacy of Renewal, concludes with the long-term impact and ongoing cycle of self-evolution. Article. Chapter 1, The Genesis of Discomfort. The journey towards profound self-transformation invariably commences with a disquieting realization, a subtle yet persistent unease that whispers of a life not fully embraced, a potential not fully realized. This initial spark of discontent acts as a catalyst, igniting a slow burn of internal friction against the very structures of our being that we have come to accept as immutable truths. It's the nagging feeling that our carefully constructed realities, the comfortable patterns of behavior and thinking, are in fact limiting our growth, stagnating our progress towards becoming who we are meant to be. This recognition is often accompanied by a sense of being trapped, a frustrating awareness that we are not living our authentic selves, but rather a version dictated by external pressures, societal norms, and the limiting beliefs we have accumulated along the way. There is a profound discomfort that accompanies this awakening, a deep-seated ache for something more, a gnawing sense that we are capable of vastly exceeding our current limitations. It is a call to break free from the confines of our self-imposed prisons, to shatter the illusions of security and embrace the vulnerability of the unknown. This initial stage is not comfortable. In fact, it is profoundly unsettling as it forces us to confront the gaps between where we are and where we aspire to be, the discrepancy between our current reality and the limitless potential that lies dormant within us. The willingness to embrace this discomfort, to delve into the uncomfortable truth of our current situation, becomes the critical launching pad for the entire transformative process. Ignoring this unease, choosing to remain in the familiar comfort of the status quo, only serves to further entrench the limitations and stifle the potential for genuine growth. To embark on the path of self-creation, we must first be willing to acknowledge the discomfort that arises from self-awareness and the yearning for a more authentic existence. This discomfort is not something to be avoided, but rather to be embraced as the necessary precursor to the profound metamorphosis that awaits. It is the initial breaking point. The moment when we acknowledge that the old self no longer serves us and that a new path must be forged, a path paved with the courage to face our limitations and the determination to overcome them. It's the acknowledgement that what you are is not who you were meant to be, and that the pain of growth is far less than the pain of staying where you are. Chapter 2, Dismantling the Old. The process of authentic self-creation demands a deliberate and often painful dismantling of the old self, a deconstruction of the beliefs, habits, and behaviors that no longer serve our growth and potential. This is not merely a superficial change, but a profound and sometimes brutal process of excavating the very foundations upon which our identity has been built. It requires a ruthless honesty, an unflinching examination of the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, the justifications we use to perpetuate our limitations, and the excuses that keep us trapped in patterns of stagnation. This deconstruction involves a critical evaluation of our deeply ingrained patterns of thinking, questioning the validity of assumptions we have long accepted as absolute truths. It calls for a careful scrutiny of the influences that have shaped us, identifying which have empowered our growth and which have constrained it. This process is not gentle. It is often accompanied by intense emotional turmoil as long-held beliefs and comfortable routines are challenged and ultimately shattered. There will be moments of doubt, moments of questioning whether we are on the right path, moments of wanting to retreat to the familiar comfort of the old ways. However, it is precisely these uncomfortable moments that prove the necessity of this process. The old self must be dismantled, not out of malice, but out of the recognition that it is holding us back from reaching our true potential. This phase is not about erasing our past, but about liberating ourselves from the limiting constraints it may have imposed. It's not about throwing out who we've been, it's about shedding the skin that is no longer growing with us. The process of dismantling often involves confrontation with uncomfortable truths, with unresolved emotional baggage, and with the shadows of our past experiences. It's about taking responsibility for our choices, acknowledging the role we have played in our own stagnation, and facing the often difficult reality of our self-imposed limitations. We are forced to acknowledge our flaws, our weaknesses, our insecurities, and to recognize that these are not inherent limitations, but rather opportunities for growth and transformation. It demands a level of self-awareness that is often lacking in our day-to-day lives, forcing us to look within with a critical eye and the intention to move beyond our shortcomings. It is through this process of dismantling, of shedding the old self, that we begin to create the space for the emergence of a new, more authentic self. It's a process that demands courage, honesty, and unwavering commitment to growth, but it's also an act of liberation, freeing us from the shackles of the past and allowing us to step into the future with renewed clarity and purpose. This is a necessary sacrifice, a necessary destruction for the sake of ultimate creation. Chapter 3. Navigating the Void. Following the dismantling of the old self, there often emerges a period of intense uncertainty, a time when we feel adrift in a void, disconnected from the familiar structures and patterns that once defined us. This is a vulnerable and often unsettling phase, a liminal space between the self we once were and the self we are yet to become. It is a time of profound questioning when the very foundations of our existence seem to have crumbled, leaving us feeling disoriented and exposed. This void can be a scary space. It's the period where the old is gone, but the new has not taken full form. We may find ourselves grappling with feelings of confusion, loneliness, and even fear as we navigate this unfamiliar terrain. The lack of familiar anchors can be deeply unsettling, and the temptation to retreat to the comfort of the old, even if it was limiting, can be overwhelming. During this period of emptiness, it is crucial to embrace the discomfort and resist the urge to fill the void with distractions or superficial solutions. This is the space where true growth occurs, where the seeds of the new self begin to take root. It's a time for introspection, for quiet contemplation, and for listening to the whispers of our inner voice. The void is not something to be feared, but rather to be understood as a necessary stage of transformation. It's the fertile ground where new ideas, new perspectives, and new possibilities can emerge. It is the space where we can truly hear ourselves, separate from the noise and distractions of our daily lives, and begin to connect with our authentic desires and aspirations. Navigating the void requires a deep level of self-compassion. It's a time to be gentle with ourselves, to acknowledge the difficulty of the process, and to resist the urge to judge ourselves harshly for the uncertainty we are experiencing. This is not a failure, but a natural part of the journey. It's the period of chaos that precedes the period of creation. This period of emptiness allows us to question what truly resonates with us, to understand our core values, and to identify the direction that we want to pursue. In this space, we are no longer bound by the limitations of our past, but we are free to dream, to explore, and to create a future that aligns with our most authentic selves. This is not a time to rush. It's a time to be patient, to trust the process, and to allow the new self to emerge at its own pace. The void is not a destination, but a transitional space, a necessary bridge between the old and the new. Embracing it, learning to navigate it with grace and courage is essential to the transformative journey. It's where the magic begins, where from the ashes of the old, the foundation of the new is quietly being formed. Chapter 4. Forging the New Self. The process of self-creation is not a passive act. It is an intentional, deliberate, and often challenging process of actively shaping the new self from the raw materials of potential and possibility. It is about making conscious choices, about selecting the beliefs, values, and behaviors that will empower our growth and propel us towards our desired future. This stage requires a profound level of self-awareness and a clear understanding of what we truly want to embody. It's about defining our purpose, about identifying the qualities we want to cultivate, and about aligning our actions with our authentic desires. This is not about becoming someone else, but about becoming the most authentic version of ourselves. It's about refining the essence of who we are, stripping away the layers of limiting beliefs and ingrained patterns, and unveiling the core of our potential. This process is not linear. It involves experimentation, iteration, and a willingness to learn from our mistakes. It requires taking risks, stepping outside of our comfort zones, and embracing the vulnerability that comes with putting our newly formed selves into the world. The process of forging the new self is about actively shaping the story of our lives, consciously choosing the narrative we want to create. It is about defining our values, our morals, and our principles and intentionally adhering to them. It's about actively creating a life that is aligned with our highest potential. This involves making deliberate choices about how we spend our time, who we surround ourselves with, and what we focus our energy on. It means taking ownership of our growth, proactively seeking opportunities for learning, and embracing the challenges that come our way as stepping stones towards our ultimate goals. The forging of the new self is a dynamic process that is continuously evolving, adapting, and changing. We are not static beings, and therefore, the self that we create today will not be the same self that we create tomorrow. It's about embracing the ongoing cycle of growth and transformation, recognizing that we are always in the process of becoming. The new self is not a finished product, it's a work in progress, a constant evolution towards higher levels of consciousness, awareness, and potential. This phase is where the potential of the void now manifests. It is where the dream becomes reality, where the new identity takes form and begins to solidify. It's an act of liberation, an act of consciously choosing who we are in the world. The new self is not given to us. It is something we must consciously craft, actively build, and intentionally create through our own thoughts, actions, and experiences. Chapter 5. Embracing resilience. The journey of self-creation is rarely a smooth or effortless process. It is often fraught with challenges, setbacks, and periods of doubt. This is where the essential quality of resilience becomes crucial. The ability to bounce back from adversity, to learn from our mistakes, and to continue moving forward with determination, even in the face of difficulty. Resilience is not about avoiding hardship. It's about embracing it as a necessary part of the transformative process and understanding that failures are not setbacks, but valuable lessons that pave the way for future success. It's about cultivating the inner strength to weather the storms, to rise above the challenges, and to emerge from each difficulty stronger, wiser, and more determined than before. Resilience is not an innate quality. It is a skill that can be developed through conscious practice and consistent effort. It's about cultivating a growth mindset, believing that we have the ability to learn and adapt and to overcome any obstacle that comes our way. This involves cultivating a positive outlook, focusing on the lessons that can be gleaned from every experience, and maintaining a steadfast belief in our ability to succeed. Resilience is also about embracing the imperfections that are inherent in the human experience. It's about recognizing that we will stumble, that we will make mistakes, and that these setbacks are not indications of failure, but simply opportunities for growth. It's about being kind to ourselves, acknowledging our limitations, and choosing to learn from every situation, regardless of the outcome. The journey of self-creation is a process of continuous evolution, and setbacks are an inevitable part of this journey. The key to success lies not in avoiding setbacks, but in developing the resilience to overcome them. This ability to learn from failure, to adapt to change, and to keep moving forward no matter what, is the bedrock of true transformation. It's the acknowledgement that we are stronger than we think, more adaptable than we believe, and that we have the power to overcome any obstacle that stands in our path. It's understanding that failure is not the opposite of success, but a necessary stepping stone towards it. Embracing resilience is not about being invincible. It is about being adaptable, flexible, and determined. It's about understanding that the journey of self-creation is not about arriving at a final destination, but about continuously learning, growing, and evolving into the best version of ourselves. Chapter 6. The Legacy of Renewal. The profound journey of breaking ourselves down to create ourselves anew is not a one-time event, but rather a continuous cycle of evolution and transformation. It's the recognition that we are always in the process of becoming, that growth is an ongoing process, and that each new challenge presents an opportunity for self-discovery and renewal. The legacy of this transformative journey is not merely the emergence of a new self. It's the understanding that we possess the power to continuously reshape our lives according to our deepest aspirations. The process of consciously breaking ourselves down, dismantling the limiting structures, and forging a new self instills in us a deep sense of agency and empowerment. It teaches us that we are not passive recipients of life's circumstances, but active creators of our own realities. This knowledge empowers us to approach future challenges with courage, to embrace the unknown with enthusiasm, and to continuously strive towards greater levels of awareness and potential. The cycle of renewal also creates a ripple effect, inspiring those around us to embark on their own transformative journeys. By living as authentic examples of growth and change, we empower others to challenge their limitations, to dismantle their own self-imposed prisons, and to create the lives that they truly desire. The legacy of renewal extends beyond the individual to encompass the collective. as we become part of a community of conscious creators who are committed to shaping a more empowered and enlightened world. Ultimately, the process of breaking ourselves to create ourselves anew is about embracing the fundamental truth that we are always in a state of becoming. We are not static beings. We are dynamic, evolving, and constantly expanding towards our infinite potential. The legacy of this transformation is not just the new self. It's the recognition of our inherent power to continuously reshape our lives and our world according to our own authentic desires and highest aspirations. This journey of self-creation is a never-ending cycle, a spiral of growth that leads us towards greater levels of understanding, consciousness, and potential. It's a journey that is both challenging and rewarding, painful and liberating, but ultimately one that allows us to experience the fullness of our humanity and our limitless capacity for transformation. The true legacy is that we are now aware of the power we possess to create the life we envision, to shape ourselves, to be in harmony with our highest calling and deepest longings, and to constantly move to the next level of being and potential. The transformation is not the end. It's the beginning, the start of a new cycle that moves us ever closer to the essence of who we are truly meant to be.